morning. Happy Monday. It's been a little chilly here in sunny California, but it is sunny. My name's Jonathan. This is another video on my cargo trailer conversion series. Yesterday we got the solar rolling, got it plugged into the Victron system, and because of the weather and because I'm feeling pretty brave after getting the solar hooked up to the inverter, hooked up to the charge controller, feeling a little brave, I'm ready to take on the furnace. Disclaimer, this is not a how-to video, this is a how I did it video, but this is going to be the DF series Dometic. I took pictures when I was building the cabinet, quote unquote, for it. Take you inside and show you where we're at. This is where the furnace is going to live. I looked over the instructions in detail. I'm not an HVAC guy. I am a roofer by trade. But this is the cabinet I built, and I will show more photos of it. I'm going to get this thing pulled out and probably cut back. So this will be my return. Oh, when moving this thing yesterday, the bolts pulled out. So now I got to redo that. Okay. So I've got my DC wires coming over, but they're not activated. They're just over there by the panel on the other side. I drilled holes for the return. I mean for the the heat out. Put in two 4-inch ducts in the place that the instructions told me to. I believe it asked for a 3-inch clearance on the right hand side and on the top. I also put a 3-inch clearance on the left. Once my heat ducts, which I don't have very long ducts, they're a few inches. Once they're sealed off and sealed to this box, there will only be heat coming out of these two holes here. Let me give you a better view. There will only be heat coming out of these two because I will seal off these ducts, which will make this enclosed space in here airtight to anything except for the return. And then obviously this is the exhaust, which will go outside the vehicle. So we're going to need to drill a hole for that. That's all going to need to be sealed up. And then also the one thing I do not have that I will get before starting this up is a carbon monoxide detector. And I will put the carbon monoxide detector right here where the heat's coming out, and right next to the return. And I will also test the exhaust outside the unit to make sure that we are only getting carbon monoxide in one place, and that will be outside the vehicle. So I'm following these instructions very closely. I'm nervous. It's a dangerous device. Lots of reasons it's dangerous, but first and foremost, we're dealing with propane. We're dealing with carbon monoxide, and we're dealing with electricity, all mixed together in one fell swoop. So I'm going to get some of the prep stuff done, but it is my intention to install this and get it going today. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the cabinet I built, the outlets for the heat, the wall, and the framing for the refrigerator all lines up. because I actually have to mount this unit and then slide the cabinet over. So I got this lined up. The wall's not perfectly square. It has a dip where there's a stud here and there's no stud over there. And for whatever reason, I've got 1-inch ISO back there, but it bows outward. Maybe just a warp in the plywood. But it's all square here and lined up. And it actually meets the wall here. So I'm gonna go with everything being square and maybe try to loosen this plywood to get the warp out of it. And then I'll double check the outside for leaks or for something to find out why it's so sucked in right there, because I don't like that. It should be uniform. But this is where it will mount and this is where it will sit. All of that is lined up. I can make some adjustments with the ducts, but not a ginormous amount. So I want it to be lined up where everything is working. So I'm going to mark the screws. We're going to have one there. We're going to have one there. Well, I can't even reach that one. I will mark all my holes down here. One there. Just got a felt tip marker. And mark all these holes. Make sure they all line up. It's where when I pull the case and then I mount the unit and drill my hole through the wall, that everything continues to line up as I take it apart and put it back together. Now, I have read this entire installation manual before I built the cabinet. So I already understand all the clearances, but if you're watching this and trying to figure it out, hopefully there's something that you're doing. Right now I've got these plastic vent covers. I'm not going to use those, going to use metal. But it was the only thing I found while I got them, so I'm either going to order something or go searching more. So my holes are marked. I'm going to pull the cabinet. I'm going to trace the hole in the wall on the inside for the exhaust. Then I'm going to hole saw that. And once it's all mounted, the hole saw, this is hooked up with biddle tape. I'm pretty sure I can set the entire unit up, then slide the cabinet over. There's going to be some dry time for the duct sealant on the ductwork, because that needs to be sealed up really good. There's going to be biddle tape for that. That doesn't take any dry time. But dry time on the ductwork for sure. But other than that, I should be able to get this thing working pretty quickly. So, really difficult to get a good hole drilled from the inside exactly where this goes. And so what I wanted to do was somehow trace with a pen the exhaust hole, but it's just too far deep in there. So what I did is I put a line here and a line here. Now I'll pull the unit out. I've got my holes marked where it's mounting. I've got the holes marked here. And I will measure from here over and from here over and from the ground up to come up with a center on this. And I'm going to hole saw the hole using the measurements off this and the measurements off my lines. And then I'm going to cross my fingers. So we've got one inch coming sideways. What do we got? We got 1 inch 1 inch at the start of our vent from the sidewall, almost exactly. And then it extends all the way to 1 3/4. But it is clearly 1 3/4 inches large. I'm sorry, 2 3/4. 2 3/4. So if it starts at 1 inch and it is 1 3/4 inches big, okay, I changed my mind. We're going to use 1 3/4 inches. Probably want to put a metal plate here anyway to protect the plywood against any heat. So if we go a little larger and then put a sheet metal plate on here, I think that'll protect the plywood. And then we'll use that sealant that they use for furnaces, hot water heaters, ductwork, penetrating through roofs on mobile homes. It's a fire-rated sealant, and comes in a tube. It's red, and I really like that idea because I'm a roofer and I know the codes. Okay, so we're at 1 3/4 inches there. And we're going to go 1 3/4 inches there. And then draw our line. Now, that line and that line are off. My center line is at 3 3/4. 2 3 3/4, which is 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to use that over here, and I'm going to use that over there, and I'm going to draw my line there. So that gives me my box. Now we're going to go for dead center. I'm going to double check this bit. It's definitely large enough. 1 3/4 bit. Matches that. That slides in that. Logic tells me that this will have 1/4 inch, if not more, all the way around, 1/8 inch all the way around of clearance. So, that being said, we're going to get the drill and we're going to go for it. Now, I double checked. You got a stud here and a stud here. So this is technically got no metal back in there except for the aluminum siding that's on this thing. So we should be clear to drill. But we'll do it one step at a time. We'll go through the plywood first, then the ISO. Last will be the sheet metal. Boy, that thing's pretty chewed up. I don't have a lot of wiggle room here. Yeah, we just went for it. So I hole sawed through and discovered that the insulation didn't make it all the way down here because of this wheel well over here actually stops you from being able to slide down. And I also had the hippie jack lift came out right there. So I'm probably going to end up pulling this whole panel anyway to get insulation down in there. Unless I can feel it there, which I can't. It's probably all the way to here missing insulation. I will look up and see what the threshold for polyiso is, because I obviously don't want to catch my polyiso on fire. And what the codes are for having it set back. And then I'll probably open this up, maybe even from the outside, get some insulation in here, because I certainly don't want missing insulation next to my furnace unless it's required for fire. But I'm going to set this on the line. Then I'm going to go to the outside and I'm going to check to see that it fits. Okay, where all of our holes are lined up. Oh, smidgen that way. Okay. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you only get to drill once. Booyah. Now it does not slide all the way back, which means the furnace may, oh, that's why. I need to do some notches for those little guys. Okay. All right. But yeah, we're lined up. And we're actually not even touching. We'll find out. We'll find out what the code says. And it looks like, no, I do not have access through there. But here's that wheel well. The insulation's probably hitting the wheel well way up here, which is why it didn't slide down. But maybe we'll use spray foam, maybe we'll take things apart. Yeah, the foam comes to about here. I definitely want that insulated if possible, so for right now, we'll just be happy that we got this far. We do not need to seal that up yet or cut the, we need to get the furnace hooked up. The next step is going to be figuring out how to temporarily get propane to the system. Power the system's easy, but propane to the system is a whole nother story. So let me get set up with a propane tank and some line to do a temporary test. Then we'll start videoing after I get some setup done. Good morning. Looks like blue skies in sunny California. Couple clouds. That's Dave.
Morning.
My fearless helper. Mike's sidekick. So, we got about a lot of things are 99% done. Today, we're going to focus on getting certain things 100% done. We got the exhaust installed and the furnace mounted and ductwork done. We got the Fogatti.
Tankless.
I didn't forget nothing.
I didn't forget it.
Okay, so we
Tankless
got the
on demand.
tankless on demand water heater going on. We got it sealed from the outside. We need to put some brackets on the inside to secure the unit. We got a temporary gas line running to the furnace as a testing supply line, but we wanted to test it as safely as possible, so I actually ran it under the unit and to the front. We're going to have to secure that even though it's temporary, because today we're going to be moving things. Got the solar panels mounted. Let's see if I can climb up on this ladder. Give you guys a better view. Oh, so I got the solar panels mounted in a previous video. If you check out my videos, you'll see we use those S5 hangers, but I still need to bolt them down. We got the power inlet just temporarily done here. So today we got to secure this and put construction sealant on the outside. We have to secure that panel. I would like to tighten up the AC unit, which means taking apart the inside, hand ratcheting it down, and probably want to add sealant around the outside of the foam flange, just because as a roofer, you know I worry about leaks. And we need to work on all of these mounts and get construction sealant all the way around those, which is going to require taping them off. We're also going to install the power tongue jack today, which is going to be requiring running some wires. And I'm going to try to do an overview. So, securing solar panels, reinforcing waterproofing on those mounts, securing gas lines, securing and zip tying solar electrical lines, installing the electrical jack. Let's go look in the box, see what we're working with. Pretty sure we went with Lippert, a smart jack. Smart jack's going on today just to get the box out of the trailer because we need as much working room as we can. Got a Furion 30 amp in. If we've got time, we'll install that today. We worked on cabinets for a little bit. Cabinets not my forte, but you know, my first attempt at a cabinet door and hidden hinges. You know, it's kind of interesting. You get on one trade and you play with it for a while. If you get burned out, you move to another trade. Well, I've got a lot of things in this thing that are 90% done. And today is, let's get some of these 90%ers to 100%. At least where we can transport this thing. Also, since we were setting up the furnace, we decided to do the carbon monoxide propane detector to where we were safely testing this unit. with a little protection. Lot of little things. Thermostat got stuffed under there. Ran wires to it. I will try to go over in detail a few more things before we so we got a lot to do today. We have a lot to do every day. This is a never-ending story. Never-ending story. And we'll see where we're at by the end of the day. Hopefully we can show you guys some more progress.